U.S. airstrikes were authorized in northern Iraq by President Barack Obama after Pentagon officials said airdrops were safely performed by one C-17 and two C-130 cargo aircrafts, delivering 8,000 prepackaged meals and 53,000 gallons of water to tens of thousands of Iraqi religious minorities who have been surrounded by Islamic militants in the region.
It has to be packaged in a certain way so that you can drop it from the air, and the supplies are not destroyed. And, so the little things like that we have the ability that the others don't, that give us a lot of influence in the world.
University of New Orleans Department of Political Science Chair Michael Ulshoff studies international conflict. He says the airstrikes authorized by the president as part of a humanitarian aid request from the Iraqi government has been favored by even the president's biggest critics in Congress.
It's like John McCain and Lindsey Graham have come out and said, this is great, but it's not enough.
But with Americans feeling weary from a decade-long war in Iraq that ended in 2011 with U.S. troops pulling out of the region, could this spark up more U.S. involvement in Iraq again? Ulshoff says more than likely it won't, since there isn't public support for it, and Iraqis don't necessarily want American forces in the region.
And if you look at the criticism that's coming out of Baghdad now, it is that the United States is involved only because the ISIS forces are attacking Christians and their Kurdish friends in the north.
In his address, President Obama's rationale for airstrikes were around the idea of Islamic State militants advancing on American troops in the northern city of Erbil, where the U.S. has a consulate. Attacks by the ISIS group go back about a decade in Iraq and are a fundamentalist movement. There are a few 100,000 Azeris who live in northern Iraq that the ISIS militants targeted.
The ISIS people believed to be unconvertible and believed should be eliminated.
Back in June, when the ISIS militants began to use more force against the Iraqi government, Ulshoff says American forces didn't intervene. They only provided intelligence information to the Iraqi government.
And as a matter of fact, the Iraqi government now today has been criticizing the United States because, unlike, as they said, the Russians and the Iranians who are supplying us with weapons, you guys aren't.
President Obama has vowed not to put American combat troops back on the ground in Iraq. Ulshoff says the airstrikes are less about Iraq.
But right now, it's mostly directed at protecting American citizens in Erbil, which is in Kurdistan.